as an influencer, I know sometimes, we get into this thing where we see other people doing, they're doing things, and sometimes we start minimizing the things that we're doing. So how do you keep yourself from falling into the comparison trap?
Ooh,
And
that's
how
a
do you essentially, like in track and field, how do you stay in your lane and run your race?
So one thing that I really focus in on, so I have like these five, I'd say like four or five values that I kind of live by.
Yes.
Um, the first one is my probably the most important one to me. And I remember when I was a college professor for 9 years, my closest colleague Adam and I would always joke because we'd get frustrated with students. And what we would always go to, and this is my number one value, is like, just give a shit.
Mm.
Like, if you just give a shit, take pride in what you are doing and what you are putting out there, the
Yeah.
rest will follow. And like, you just have to believe and you have to trust in that. So,
Yeah.
first and foremost, put yourself out there, take risks, and see what happens. The
Yeah.
other one, it's funny that you asked the question, is because like I was like, my second value is like, stay in your lane. And
Wow.
so like you will see, and I will talk like when I'm like posting things on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or
Mm.
whatever, I am talking about mental health. I'm talking about parenting, relationships, um, and like coping skills. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe some sports like just because I've kind of gotten into that, but that still goes back under like like relationship skills and mental health and coping skills. So like I really focus in on that. And I actually I have to check myself because I get agitated and frustrated when I see other people stepping outside of their lane. Like when you have
Mm.
someone who's like, "Oh, this is like my area," and then they're talking about parenting and I'm like, "Why are you talking about parenting? You have like no background or training or anything in it." Like I was listening to a radio station, a local radio station here, and it just came on and it has like one of the DJs, like I think he's hilarious and he's like I think he's hilarious. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
listening to it and then they're like, "Oh, this section with Dr. So and so." And I'm listening and I'm like, "Okay, so she's talking about relationships and like people are like writing in for advice and she's answering it." And I'm like, "I don't necessarily agree with that." And they're like, "Oh, Dr. blah blah blah." And so I decided to like look up this doctor that they had on the show. And
Mm-hmm.
like they have like no, like they are a doctor, they have a doctorate degree, but it's not in anything like relationships or mental health or
Wow.
anything. And I'm like, that you're just a fraud.
Mm.
And so I was like, I'm not listening to that radio station anymore, or that
Wow.
radio show anymore. So like stay in your lane
Mm-hmm.
because like I
Mm-hmm.
think if you can talk about what you are passionate about and what is in your lane, I think you can speak more clearly about it and you can speak more passionately about it. And
Yes.
you're genuine and you're authentic and all of those things.
Wow.
Um, Another big one for me is like play nice in the sandbox. Like life is better when you're around people and when you
Yes.
have people coming along with you. That's why I love our group, Isaiah, because like there is, I don't even know how many of us there are, like 10. There's like
Something
10 of
like
us.
that.
Yeah, like 10. Like, I mean, we could count, but like, let's just say there's 10, but like we're all in it to help each other out
Yeah.
because being an entrepreneur or being an influencer, whatever you want to say, it can be lonely.
It can
But
be.
like
Yeah.
if you have people and you play nice in the sandbox and you're just kind to others, then it's going to be returned to you like fivefold or whatever.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's my other one. And then the other one that I switch back and forth is I go like play the game or like be a good soldier. And so that just
Okay.
means like figure out what's expected of you, figure out like what are the rules, what's the expectations, and then just go kill it. Like go and dominate. I remember I mean, you know, but the audience doesn't know. I was an assistant high school football coach this past season, where I was on the sidelines and I did like sports performance stuff with them.
Hey.
And I remember I had a conversation at the beginning of the year with one of like the six, seven guys that I was working really closely with. And he was struggling because he was not seen as a starter. He was seen
Mm-hmm.
as a leader, but he wasn't seen as a starter. And he was getting really frustrated with that. And I remember just telling him, I'm like, play the game. Like, you show up day in, day out,
Yeah.
do your best, stay in your lane, give a shit. And as soon as you get your opportunity, kick the door down.
Mm.
And guess what? He then became like probably like our best linebacker by the end of the season, because as soon as his opportunity came back, he kicked that door down and like he just dominated. I was like,
You gave him a good pep talk.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so like when you have like an 18-year-old boy, like his last game, and he's like giving you a hug and he's like, I love you. Not in like a weird, creepy
right? Yeah,
way,
understood.
but like
yeah.
I love you. And I'm like, I love you
He
too.
needed that.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
those are kind of like my rules to live by.
I'm out front running all day.